because many persons are watching, especially someone unmarried, what according to you, when they come for counseling, what are they looking out for in the perfect man? Because everybody wants to get a perfect man, a perfect wife.
No, I think as many as we have human beings out there, people have their tastes and desires. Yes, there are people who will want their priority will be somebody who can take good care of them, can be with them, whether there's no money. There are some who say that the rich of love. If you are not rich, you cannot be shortlisted for the kind of man or the kind of woman they want to marry. There are people who will put an accent on the physical characteristics. There are some who will want to look at the person's spirituality. There are some who want to look at the academic. In fact, people have their cross-section. So that's why most of the time we always ask them, why do you want to get married? 1, 2, and why do you want to get married to this particular person? Because when you look at when the person's argument or the person's criteria are subjective, you now know that this is a slippery relationship. If the lady start talking about, I like his height, I like his, you know that those are subjective factors. But what preserves, as we have said here, time without number, what preserves a relationship is purpose in the first place. And then these love factors of these other things that can at any time slip away from your hands are very, very difficult issues to hang on to, because if your criteria, for example, is that, or your key criterion is that the guy should be rich, there is riches are not a permanent condition for anybody in this life. There is no, in fact, Dangote can become poor. I want to say it. He can become poor. Dangote can become poor. So we should not look at certain factors which can at any time, slip away, and look at them to be the key factors for which we are wanting to get married to somebody. We should be sure that if the person does not have that thing we are looking at, you can still have something that is more precious in the person's life than what you desire. Yes, I know that naturally nobody will want to get married to, say, let's say, a poor person. Nobody will want to get married to such a person. But then, that's where I'm driving here, Apostle. Your definition of poverty now will now be the central point of it. Especially some of these people. So I don't want to say ladies or men. There are people who want to get married to ready-made human being. That is a bad mindset. When you want to get married to somebody, desire somebody with whom you can grow together, somebody you can emerge together. That is the factor. Many people who have gotten married or who have desired to marry ready-made people, they have entered into the hands of people who end up taking their lives away. It is this desire to marry the made people that have made some people to get married to cultists. At the end of the day, they take you and sacrifice you in their calls, and then they keep blossoming, and you have lost, your family has lost, and your loved ones. So the desire to get married to ready-made people, say no, he's very settled, and that is your major drive. Your major drive, that the guy is very settled, he has a car, he has constructed a house and all the like. Yes, it is good, but that should not be your principal motive. You must be able to look at somebody as the identity of that person, one, and then two, where the person is going to in life. When you talk with somebody and his life revolves only around here, all he has is in his mind is clubbing. All he has in his mind is wanting to upgrade from one mobile phone another. He doesn't talk futuristic. Those are very dangerous people to get married to. You have people who don't learn, in fact, who don't want to learn. They don't want to bypass their weaknesses. As we're talking about perfection, Mr. Lo, there is something I think this is something I must always emphasize. There is an attribute I like in any human being. I like somebody who is ignorant but teachable. If you have all the knowledge and the information in this way and you are not teachable, you are not my kind of person. Because as the days are going by, it will be like if you've said it is yes, and nobody can say no to it. And those are the kind of people that you get married to, you will live to cry all the days of your life. Especially women. If you are getting married to somebody who says yes and it is yes and nobody can say no to it, can alter it, not even a mentor in his life, not even a family member that can ask him to sit down and he listens to it, you are going in for a relationship that is going to be painful to you all the days of your life. So at the premarital level, people always have a lot of criteria they set, but one thing is sure is that it is, I don't know one person whose criteria has been met 100%.
Yes, not possible.
You're always like, okay, I would love to get married to this, and then some people, when they set those criteria like that, and they are not, they reject proposals from people. This one will come and say, no, this is not my kind. This is not my kind. At the time that age is not catching up with you,
yeah,
you say, man, you just begin to gather anything and and accommodate in your life. So it is always better to make sure that as a young person growing, sit down and set look at the things, set the standards, and the standards should not be based on these trivialities that we have out here. Set standards that have to do with core values of an individual that you can grow with together. If you cannot have these values, and then anybody will come by you and you send away nicer husbands in favor of somebody who will end up becoming a pain or a headache to you and your family. You see, somebody said that if you reject a man who has a vision to marry somebody who has television, you end up watching the man with a vision in your husband's television. That is to say that there are people today that when you look at them, all the physical values and those trivialities, they add up to nothing. Looking at how the person look, in fact, just at the person's outlook now, the person may not be looking like any serious person, any husband material or any wife material. But when you look past the trivialities we're talking about, the physical factors, the financial factors, when you look past them now, you discover that the person has a bright future, and you can grow with the person and emerge. I used to say that there are some of us, if before marriage, if they gave you 3 for 25, you will not take. But it took some women who saw beyond the man standing in front of them. It took a woman that saw beyond a man that does not have a car, beyond a man that does not have a huge bank account, beyond a man that does not have a name, a man that is not a celebrity. It took women who saw that and then got into such relationships. It's the same thing too for women. There are some women that are very flamboyant now, but as you get married to them, your downfall begins from the day you have gotten married to them, because as they come in, they are a slave queen. They have entered your life with the mindset of a slave queen. They don't have any contribution to make your home better, to make your life better. So when you get married to such a person, you know that you are doomed. Honestly, you are doomed. So people should learn to be more insightful when it comes to marriage. Please, we are talking to our brothers and sisters who are still trusting God to settle in holy matrimony. Don't be haphazard about this thing. Don't do it just anyhow, because when you do it anyhow, the results will end up being anyhow, and you will live in pain. And we have often said that before marriage, you have the choice to back out or not. But when you already get married, there are a lot of entanglements that you will not just walk out the way you like.
Okay.